guys, welcome back to the channel. Today, blood is definitely thicker than water as we talk about Four Brothers, a very underrated movie from 2005 starring Mark Wahlberg, Outcast, Andre Benjamin, Tyrese Gibson, Garrett Hedlund. I like all those guys as actors. And this movie, much like last week when I talked about John Wick, is very much kind of a Western at its core. You've got these guys and their mother gets gunned down at the beginning of the movie, and so they have the funeral and they all reconnect after several years away from each other. And after a little bit of being haunted by the memory of their mother there in that house as they're having Thanksgiving dinner, they realize they need to bring to justice the men who gunned her down. And of course, the entire thing has been orchestrated by the crime lord of the town, who's I never can pronounce that actor's name, but the character in the movie is Victor Sweet. He's a great actor. I loved him in the Firefly movie Serenity. So, guys, to me, Four Brothers is criminally underrated as far as not enough people talk about it being a great action movie from the 2000s. And I feel like, Mark Wahlberg, of course, he's kind of the it guy. Whenever you need, your white bread superhero, you plug him in there. But I thought he did a really good job in this as the big brother. With the help of his brothers, they finally kind of muscle their way in to figure out what's going on. Not only has Victor Sweet, orchestrated this deal on their mom, but she was also trying to help Jerry, played by Andre Benjamin, who's great in this role as the sophisticated brother of the bunch. She was trying to help him out, in his failing business ventures. And of course, Victor Sweet came in, and so you get some great action in this thing where they're trying to figure out who's doing what. And so there's this great scene where they've hunted down this basketball player and they chase him down in his home, and he's trying to rappel down the side of the building, and they cut the rope and he breaks his leg, the bone's sticking out. It's just nasty. There's a really good chase in the snow where they take down these two guys. I think they were the actual gunmen who took her out. And then there's the big scene, man, where the bad guys come to the Mercer house. And of course, they shoot Jack, played by Garrett Hedlund. They're just opening fire with all kinds of heavy machine guns on that house, and bullets are flying through brick, and all the good guys can do is take cover. This whole movie just has this down and dirty feel to it. They're in Detroit, you know, and say what you want about Detroit, but yeah, I love that it almost feels like a 70s exploitation movie in that they have the Motown songs going, and the house is older. At one point during the movie, I thought maybe I was actually watching a 70s era movie until somebody pulled out a cell phone. I think it was La Vida Loca. That character cracked me up. How Angel, played by Tyrese Gibson's got this crazy Hispanic girl that he's in love with. Just the stuff that they do in that movie. This movie was directed by John Singleton, who, of course, directed all kinds of things and wrote Boys in the Hood. So, this was right up his alley. And he did a really good job on this movie as well. I really like the twist at the end of this movie, how Victor Sweet thought that Jerry was bringing him all this money, this 400K, to leave the Mercer brothers alone. But really, because he'd worked with a union and some of his guys in that union, they all turned against Victor Sweet. And here comes Mark Wahlberg, Bobby Mercer, walking across that frozen lake like a boss. They have a fist fight there at the end and throw him in the hole in the frozen lake. Man, just a great finale to this movie. But yeah, the action's really good in this movie. The locations, you feel like you're in Detroit in this thing. I'm not sure if it was actually filmed there, but man, yeah, there's some seedy places in this thing. And I really like the chemistry between the four brothers in this thing. You've got Wahlberg, who's kind of the head of the family. He's the thug in this thing, and Angel, played by Tyrese Gibson, who's the lover boy. Garrett Hedlund, and it's made reference to that character is gay in this movie, and of course they make a lot of homophobic jokes in that. But I thought, for a movie, an action movie like this in the early 2000s, I thought that was kind of a bold choice, to have a character like that. I really did enjoy his character, and I wish he had just a little bit more to do as far as the action goes. He was usually just holding a crowbar or something. Andre Benjamin as Outcast was great in this as the sophisticated brother. But yeah, I really like the interpersonal dynamics between them. The guy who plays Victor Sweet in this movie, what a great bad guy, man. He's got that one Italian thug. He tells him he's going to send him off so he can teach his fiance a few things before they get married. And then his one henchman Evan, he's trying to eat while he's, cussing him out. And so he throws his food on the floor and makes him eat it up like a dog, and then makes his wife do the same thing. Just, you cannot wait for that character to get his at the end of this movie. It makes you cheer Mark Wahlberg just all the more. But to me, this movie is kind of passed over when people talk about really good mid 2000s movies. You know, you've got all kinds of good stuff there, like Batman Begins and Casino Royale, The Departed. And I feel like, for a serious action movie like it is, it's criminally underrated. Overall, I'm going to give this a 7.5 out of 10. I think it's really good. And if you've not seen it in a while, I'd definitely give it a watch. I'd put it on a recent poll, and much to my delight, it placed fairly high. It didn't place number one, but I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do that one first. Ong Bak actually just ran away with that poll, and so I'm going to do it next. So for all of you out there wanting to hear about Tony Jaa and Ong Bak, that is coming. So just stay tuned. If you like what you see, guys, be sure to like and subscribe. And as always, I'm Andrew, and I'll see you down the line.